settle in. So take that moment, just take a deep breath in, and then take a deep breath out. And take a moment to connect, to check in, to notice what you're feeling, how you're feeling. And know that whatever you're feeling, it's okay. You're able to sit with it just like you are now. And no matter where you are on the mat, whether that's laying or sitting, lengthen your spine gently. And as you lengthen the spine, feel that back lengthening. But then feel the rest of the body softening and relaxing. And really start to let go of any tension that you might be holding in the face. Allow the jaw to soften so there's some space between the top and bottom row of teeth. Maybe even take a moment to stick the tongue out and then let it soften and relax in the mouth between those teeth. And start to relax the shoulders down and away from the ears. Maybe a few shrugs to help release them. And then spread the hands and the feet a few times just to let them soften so they're not gripping tightly. And then start to connect with your breathing. Just letting it be, not changing it quite yet. So as you're just letting that breath be, become the awareness that follows it. What's happening through the inhale? What's happening through the exhale? And maybe even notice what happens between the breath. Is there a pause, a moment of stillness? And now that you've connected with your breath a little deeper, see if you can start to lengthen the inhale and the exhale. And try not to bring any tension into your shoulders, the face, the hands, or the feet. Just let that breath be deep. Keeping the breath deep Start to engage your abdominal by drawing the navel back towards the spine. As you create this little bit of effort, this little place of engagement, notice what changed. Notice what you're feeling. One more deep breath, and then come into Anjali Mudra. The hands coming into a prayer position, the palms pressing against, and the thumbs coming to your chest. Soften the shoulders. Allow yourself to take another deep breath in and sigh out through the mouth. And begin to set an intention for practice. Once you have set that intention, just repeat it back to yourself and hold on to it. Let it be with you. Let it follow with you through your practice, and maybe even beyond. Once you're ready, release those arms and hands. And at your own pace, you can begin to open the eyes back to the room. If you're sitting up, just gently come down to a laying position. And give yourself a little room in case there's cracks or anything that might be in arm's way. Settle in and draw the knees in towards the chest to start. As you draw those knees in, you can wrap the arms around, maybe give yourself a little hug by lifting the head up, but then releasing the head gently down. Good. Engage the feet, engage the thighs. You can keep the hands on the knees or draw your arms out to a T-like position. And when you're ready, engage the core if you lost it and start to draw the knees in a circle, just going around the hips. If you notice that it starts to become a quick movement, deepen the breath and slow the movement down. Let it be intentional. One more circle, and the knees come in. Slow the movement, re-engage, feet, core, and then begin to move in the opposite direction. Sometimes we get lost in which direction to go, so just go with what feels natural and then switch it up. Again, if that movement becomes quick, deepen the breath and slow it down. One more circle. And when those knees come back towards the chest, back to center, wrap your arms back around those knees if you would like. You can lift the head up for that little hug. And then just give yourself a quick little rock side to side. It might feel totally different than when you rocked or when you went in those circles. So be aware of that. Different parts of the body coming on and off the mat. Might feel a little bit more through the back than through the hips. Good. Then slow the movement down, coming to stillness. Have the hands around the knees. Give yourself an extra little squeeze. Good. All right. Now what you're going to do is these elbows are bent. And you're just going to start to straighten and bend those elbows. So start to draw the knees forward until those arms straighten. Keep holding on to those knees. And then draw those knees back in towards the chest, bending those elbows once again. So allow yourself to move through that movement. The knees coming forward, the arms to straighten, and then drawing those knees gently back in. Good. So do that just a few times. Keep the feet slightly engaged and the core slightly engaged. Good. One more. And the knees come forward. Notice how that feels. Take a deep breath. And draw the knees back in. If you want to lift that head up for an extra little squeeze, do so. Then release the head. Okay. When you're ready, wrap one ankle over the other or roll to one side and come on up to a seated posture. And as you come up to a seated posture, just make any adjustments you might need through your body. Sometimes just notice how the back's feeling, the hips after laying down, coming to a seated posture. Good. So you're probably in a seated posture such as I am. Just make sure that your ankle is not in front of the other. So give yourself a little space between those legs. You're going to reach the arms up and overhead, soften those shoulders, and come into a fold. So let those arms come forward down towards the mat. Let the head relax. Sometimes we want to hold it up, so let it soften down or tuck the chin in. Maybe shrug the shoulders out a few times. And sometimes we're gripping through our hands, so maybe come onto the backs of the hands so that there's less effort and you're just kind of in the fold. Breathe deep. Draw the core in, lift back up, reaching those arms back up and overhead. Good. Relax the shoulders. Notice how it feels. Exhale, fold one more time back in towards the leg. And you might notice the second round, it might feel a little different. So make any little adjustments. Relax, breathe. Draw the core in, lengthen and lift those arms back up and overhead. And relax the shoulders. Last fold. So come into it where you feel comfortable. Make any little adjustments, sometimes through our sitting bones. Sometimes it's flipping the palms up so that you're not holding any tension in. Maybe it's tucking the chin to release. Breathe deep. One more deep breath. Use your core, lift and lengthen right back up. Good. Reach those arms up, maybe a little stretch side to side just to kind of feel them lengthening. Good. And then draw the arms down by your side. Good. Forget the shoulders again. You might be like, ooh, different sensations. So just notice that. Try not to pay too much attention to the crackings you might be hearing. Good. All right, so just a little release. We went forward. Now we're just going to go back. So I'm not sure which is the best way to show you this, but I'll do like this. All right, so you're going to have your arms by your side. Draw the core in, because what's going to happen is this overarching is going to happen, that tilt to the pelvic. So try to keep the hips grounded, the core gently in. As the arms are by your side, take your right arm, start to draw it onto your back. Sometimes it looks like this, sometimes it looks like this, and sometimes you get a really good, almost 90 degree, and you feel that, extra stretch for that arm starting to bound around, and that's okay. Take this left arm, same movement. It's just going to interlace into the other hand. Good. Sometimes our hands meet down here, and that's perfectly fine. Good. Draw the core in. Notice if you have to tilt the pelvic a little bit. Good. Breathe. See if you can draw the shoulders back a little bit. Good. Release the left arm, then the right arm. Let the arms and hands come to the lap, so you can just kind of release and roll out those shoulders. Good, arms come back by your side. Same movement, just opposite arm. So now the left arm comes first, then the right. So they interlace, or maybe the hands meet down here, and that's okay. Draw the core in. Don't let that tilt happen. Breathe deep. Draw the shoulders back, down and away. Release the bottom arm, then the top. Good. Draw the hands to the lap, shrug it out, release. Notice how it feels. Sometimes different sensations happen just by switching which arm went first. All right, we'll do that 2 more times. So arms by your side. Right arm bends first, then the left. Draw the core in. Make sure that pelvic didn't tilt. Try to ground those hips down. Try to draw the shoulders down and away, but also together on the back. And breathe deep. Bottom arm releases, then the top, slowly drawn back to center. Give yourself a little release. Anything that might feel good, and we'll do the next side. When you're ready, the arms come then back. Left arm, then right. Find that place. Draw the core in. Draw the shoulders down, but also together. So you're kind of really working through these shoulders. Good. Release the bottom arm, then the top. Draw those hands back to center, onto the lap. Shrug it out. Notice how you feel. Good. Now we'll come to hands and knees, and if your knees are being sensitive today, please use a blanket. And adjust. Find yourself on the mat with wrists under your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Ground the tops of the feet into the mat. Draw the core in. Broaden the shoulders by spreading the hands. Gently gaze down at the hands. Now you're lengthening the spine from the tailbone out through the head. And just take a deep breath here. Good. Another deep breath in. This time, exhale. Tuck the chin. Around the spine, push the hands away from the mat. Feel that body being pulled away. Good. Now we're going to go in the opposite direction. So start to draw the shoulders together onto the back. And when you do that, draw the core in and up. Good. Exhale, tuck the chin, round the spine, draw the shoulders away. Good. Now draw the shoulders together onto the back towards the spine, drawing the core in. Good. One more time, tucking the chin, rounding the spine. And then drawing those shoulders together. Good. One more time, you'll tuck the chin and round the spine, but you're just going to go back into a child's pose by sinking the hips down towards your heel. Let your head relax down on the mat. Soften the shoulders, the arms, the hands. Breathe deep here. Good. Come back up to hands and knees. As you come back to hands and knees, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, draw the core in. Start to curl your toes onto the mat. And shift the weight back a little bit. So you're going to feel that stretch through the feet. Start to hover the knees so you're drawing that core in a little bit more. Breathe. Then lengthen the leg. Hips up, chest in towards your thighs. Broaden the hands. Pedal out those heels. Give them a little release, a little movement. It'll feel good. Try not to hold the head up, so gently gaze back. You should be able to see the knees. Good, and one more deep breath here. Then lift the heels up. Start to round your spine forward. Your shoulders are going to start to begin to come over your wrist. You're in a plank. Don't let your hips sink down, so draw that core in. Try to create a flat back. Deep breath. Then push into your downward dog. Good. From your down dog, take a deep breath. Then come down to hands and knees. From hands and knees, tuck the chin, round the spine, child's pose. Take a deep breath here. From your child's pose, you're going to draw the core in, lengthen the arms, come back up to hands and knees. Find your foundation once again. Curl the toes, draw the core in, shifting the weight back, then hovering the knees. Downward dog, lifting that tailbone, lengthening the legs, chest in towards those thighs. Pedal out really quick if you need. Then come back into plank, lifting the heels up, rounding the spine, coming forward over those wrists slightly, drawing the core in, taking a deep breath. Downward dog, taking a deep breath here. Make your way down to hands and knees. From your hands and knees, child's pose. Taking a deep breath there. So we'll do this movement one more time. Go at your own pace, back up to hands and knees, breathing deep and checking in. Keep using your core. And take your time breathing before moving in each part. Once you're in your child's pose, stay there for a little bit longer, releasing and breathing deep. We're going to go through those moves one more time, but with a little more effort, with stillness. Good. Give yourself those last little movements to release anything you might need. And when you're ready, there's no rush. Come back to hands and knees. Find that foundation, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Draw the core in. Start to curl the toes. Push the weight back a little bit. Then hover the knees, draw the core in. Lengthen those legs, come into your downward dog. Rotate those fingers out towards the wide edges if it helps you from slipping. Gently gaze at the knees, you're not holding the head up. One more deep breath. Come into plank. Lifting the heels, rounding the spine, letting those shoulders come over the wrists, draw the core in. You need to come down to the knees at any point, that's okay. Breathe deep for at least 2 to 3 deep breaths. When you're done, you'll come back into that down dog. Try to be there for at least 1 to 2 deep breaths. And then back to your child's pose. Stay there for a little bit longer. And just release, let go of any tension, breathe, notice what you're feeling. One more deep breath here, and then you'll come back to hands and knees. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Come back to your downward dog. You won't be here too long, so pedal out those heels if you need that release. And when you're ready, you'll just come to hands and knees. Sorry, hands and knees. You'll come to a forward fold by walking the feet to meet the hands. And when you come into this forward fold, this is a good place to really just kind of undulate a little bit to release tension in the shoulders. Notice how those legs are feeling, the feet. Just notice all the different parts. And then take a moment to look at the feet and make sure that they're underneath of your hips and that they're parallel with each other and your mat. Then start to spread and lift those toes. You're going to feel the outer edges, the inner edges, the heels and the balls of the feet, and then release those toes down. Good. Come up to a nice flat back by drawing the hands either onto fingertips, shins, or the thighs, drawing the shoulders together, lengthening from the tailbone out through the head, gazing down. This nice half lift, this flat back, release back into those legs by rounding the spine once again. Now draw your core in, bend your knees, start to sink your hips down and back, let the chest peel up as the arms frame your ears. Draw that core in. See if you can push the knees back a little bit so that they start to come in line with those knees. Good, then push on up, arms coming around and into prayer. Notice how you feel. And reach those arms back up and overhead. Exhale, fold back into your legs. Good, so start to shift your weight over to the left. Bend your knees so the hands can come into a place where they feel more comfortable, more flat, and able to hold your body up. Then draw that right leg behind you. The right leg coming back, check in with this front knee and just make sure it's not tracking over the ankle. Make sure that back heel is lifted so you're in your lunge. And try not to grip the toes. Good. Find your balance from that front foot into the back. When you do, draw your hand onto that top thigh. Realign and re-engage here, so keep pushing front to back. Draw the core in. Maybe start to push that right hip forward a little bit. And then draw the hands onto the hips. You might be like, ooh, my balance shifted. Notice what's happening. Breathe, draw the core in. And when you feel balanced, the hands can stay here or they can start to come up to frame. Breathe deep. Good. Slowly hinge forward, hands down to the mat. Now start to walk your hands back because you're going to stretch that front leg. You start to lengthen and straighten it a little bit and maybe even lift the front toes. Good. Then bend the knee and hop that back foot to meet the front. You come back together and just make sure that you're back in your foundation. Feet underneath the hips and parallel with each other. Spread and lift those toes so you feel the grounding once again. And come up to your half lift, that flat back. Drawing the shoulders together, gazing gently down. Fold back into your legs, rounding that spine. Try not to grip the toes, keep them. And bend the knees, sink the hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms to frame. Draw the core in, gently draw the knees back just a little bit. Got a little extra effort. Push to stand, arms around and into prayer. Good. Shrug them out if they need it. Reach your arms back up and overhead and fold back into your legs. When you're ready, shift the weight now to the right foot. Bend those knees, the hands come into a place where you feel stable. And then draw the left foot behind you. And again, check in. Make sure this front knee is not tracking over. If it is, give yourself a little distance. You want to create a nice 90 degree. Find balance from this front foot into the back foot. And when you do, hands on that top thigh. Try to keep that back heel lifted. Good. Draw the core in, hands on hips. Try to push that left hip forward a little bit. So it's like those thighs, everything's coming to the midline. When you feel balanced, arms come up to frame. Draw the core in, breathe. Good, hinge forward, hands down to the mat. Again, we're gonna stretch that leg, so walk it back. Maybe point that front toe so you're feeling that stretch through the leg. Good, then bend the knee and hop that back foot to meet the front. Good, so now you're back in that forward fold. Making a little adjustment. Get back into your alignment. Feet under hips. Parallel with each other. Come up to your flat back. That half lift. Breathe. Fold. Release and let go. Come into chair, bending your knees, sinking the hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms to frame. Draw the core in, and then draw the knees back slightly. Good, just a little extra effort. Then push up, arms into prayer. Good. Notice how you're feeling. Might be getting a little hot. Reach the arms up and overhead and fold back into those legs. Good, so we're just gonna work with this dynamic lunging and adding in that half sun. So begin to move at your own pace. I'll throw in some cueing here and there. Shift your weight, hands down, draw that one leg back behind you. So it's the left knee staying in front. Sometimes we get confused. Always find your balance and never feel rushed. Keep drawing the core in, keep breathing deep. And after you lunge, don't forget to straighten that front leg for that little stretch. It's a nice little hamstring release. Keep finding your balance, drawing the core in, checking in. Do both sides one more time. Don't feel rushed through the movements. Take your time. Breathe deep. And keep checking in, noticing what you feel and what's happening. Where's your effort? Where's your ease? Where's that balance between the two? Now, once you've done both sides equally, you come back into your forward fold. Pause there for just a few breaths. Check in. Maybe a little undulation just to kind of notice what you're feeling and to release any tension you might be holding into the body. Good. Now, when you're ready, bend your knees, hands flat. Shift your weight over to the left leg and draw that right foot behind you. So you start to come back into your lunge. Again, make sure that back heel is lifted, the front knee's not tracking over that ankle. Draw the core in and find balance between both legs. When you're ready, coming onto that top thigh, take your time. Rolling that right hip forward, hands can come onto hips. Finding that midline, drawing the core in, using that balance. And when you feel ready, reach the arms up and overhead. Breathe deep. Now you're going to hinge forward, drawing the hands down to the mat. But don't draw the foot all the way forward. You're going to come forward by maybe 2 or 3 steps. So you can start to lengthen that front leg a little bit more. And you're going to lift that back foot off the mat. Keep the toe pointed down. You're going to want to automatically open that foot. Breathe deep here. It's okay if you're on the fingertips. If you have a block, use it. Good. Now swing and draw that leg to meet that front leg. Good. Wiggle them out. They probably want a little movement. Roll out the wrists, the hands if you need to. Good. Now we're going to shift. Weight to the right. Draw the left leg back behind you. It'll feel good to balance them out. Find your distance between the legs. Draw the core in. Come on to that top thigh. When you feel balanced, keep that back heel lifted. Keep pushing from the front foot into the back. And square those hips so that left hip may come forward a little bit. Coming to that midline. Hands on hips. Draw the core in. And arms to frame. Breathe. Try not to grip the toes. Good. Hinging forward. Hands down to the mat. And again, just a few hops with that back foot so you can start to straighten that front leg. Then when you're ready, you'll come and lift that back leg up a little bit. Allow the toe to stay pointed down. Breathe. Try to draw the shoulders away. Good. Swing that foot to meet that front foot. Wiggle it out. Little undulation. It'll feel good. Good. All right. Bend your knees, sink your hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms to frame. Roll that core in, lift on up, arms in prayer. Good, stretch it out. All right, reach your arms back up and overhead and fold back into your legs. Good, shift your weight to one side, drawing that right foot behind you. So we're back in our lunge. Come on to that top thigh when you feel your balance. Hands on hips. Square around, draw the core in. Arms up to frame. Breathe. Good. Our balance loves to play with us. Come back down. Walk the hands forward a little bit so you can walk those feet forward, that back foot forward a little bit, and then lift it up. Try to keep the toe pointed down. Try to lengthen that front leg. And again, it's okay if you have to come on to fingertips. Draw the shoulders together, not towards the ears. Breathe. Good. Swing that leg to meet the other leg. Good. Wiggle it out. Switch sides, drawing now the left leg behind you. Always feels so good when you finally get the other leg the same movement. Hand on that top thigh when you feel balance. Squaring the hips, drawing the core in, hands on hips. Then arms to frame. Breathe. Find your balance. Maybe it's playing with you and that's okay. Good. Come forward. Walk it forward a little bit with the hands and then the foot. Start to lift the foot up, toe pointed down. See if you can lengthen that front leg a little bit. It's okay if it needs to be bent. Maybe come onto fingertips. That's okay. Just draw the shoulders away so you're not drawing tension to the head. Breathe. Good. Then sweep that leg to meet the front leg. Wiggle it out. Good job. Feet parallel. Create your grounding. Then come into chair, bending knees, sinking hips down and back, chest filling up, arms to frame. And come on up to stand. Arms around and into prayer. Good. Now take a moment, arms by your side, and undulate. Lose all those arms, swing side to side. Just kind of release. They'll feel good after all that folding, after all this lunging. Good. All right, let gravity slow it down. When you come back to center, maybe close the eyes for just a moment and just breathe. All right, reach your arms back up and overhead. Then exhale, fold into your legs. Good. All right, shift your weight to the left foot and draw that right foot behind you. Back in your lunge. Good. Find your hands to come onto that top thigh when you feel balanced. Then hips. Now staying with your hand on the hips, you're going to draw this back heel down. So the toe comes towards the right a little bit. Good. All right. So notice if your hips are trying to open to the right and kind of look down. If your feet are on the same plane, so each heel kind of connects, take this left foot and just start to heel toe, walk it over to that left side a little bit. Good, you might notice, okay, my hips are coming in, but maybe I need to walk that front foot back just a little bit so that my stance feels a little more comfortable. Good. So it's gonna feel a little awkward, but it's just because we feel more comfortable in warrior 2 than we do in warrior 1. All right, keep drawing those thighs together, that midline happening. Reach the arms up to frame the ears. Bend that front knee if you straightened it. Warrior 1. Notice if that back foot, if you're coming in to the inner edge of the foot, try to push to the outer edge. Good. All that shit. Now we're going to go into something different. So straighten the front leg. Good. Now try to keep the arms where they are in line with the ears. Begin to draw the core in and just hinge forward. When you start to feel your back rounding, pause. Come up just a little bit so you're staying in that flat back region. Good. The arms are reaching forward. Now draw them down towards the mat and then by your side. So now they're just in the opposite direction. They're reaching back. Feel those shoulders coming together a little bit. Good. Keep reaching those arms back. Let it help peel the chest back up. And then the arms come back up to frame, bending that front knee. You're back in warrior 1. Beautiful. So we're getting good stretches through the leg, through the back, and through our shoulders. Breathe. Keep pushing into that outer edge of that back foot. Straighten that front leg again. Hinge forward, draw the core in, try to keep that flat back the best you can, or that back flat the best you can. Draw the arms then down by your sides and then up just a little bit so you're drawing those shoulders together. Breathe. Keep pushing into that outer edge of the foot. Good. Peel the chest up, reaching those arms back, drawing them down, up, and bend the knee. Last warrior 1 on this side, so just pause here and breathe. Good. Just one little change. Interlace the hands. Take those interlaced hands, draw them onto the back of the head. Good. Keep bending the front knee. You'll want to straighten just because we're moving. Draw the core in. Peel the shoulders back a little bit. So you might come into just a bit of a back bend, but not too much. It's like you're laying on the beach. Good. Now draw the elbows together. You're going to feel almost like a band on the head. Tuck the chin just a little bit. Keep bending that front knee, drawing the core in. Draw the shoulders down as you're moving through this. Breathe. And then open those elbows back out. Release the hands. Draw them back to the hips. This is where you're going to use the core and the balance a little bit. You're going to flip that back heel up and come back down. You're in your lunge again. You're going to heel toe to walk that front foot back in line and then hop that back foot to meet together. Good. Wiggle it up. Good job. Probably feels so much better than all that lunging we were doing. All right, shift the weight. Opposite leg now comes behind. Start in your lunge, so keep the heel up and come on to that top thigh. It's just better to come into alignment once you're up. Then hands on hips. Once hands are on your hips, that's when the heel can come down, toes point a little bit to the left. Check in. Make sure that you have some distance through the legs, so start to walk that right foot over to your right and maybe even back just a little bit so that your hips aren't wanting to open to the left, but instead they're wanting to come forward. And again, try not to just come into the inner edge of this back foot, also push into that outer edge. Okay. So I'm just changing my stance just a little bit. There we go. All right. Bend that front knee, straighten it. If you need to adjust, adjust. How do you feel, Mickey? Good? Okay. All right. We're coming into warrior 2, warrior 1, draw the core in, reach the arms up. Bend that front knee. Breathe. Keep pushing into that outer edge of that back foot. Good. Straighten the front leg. Start to hinge forward. Draw the core in. Again, pause before you round. Then draw the arms down and back by your side. Reaching up just a little bit so you're feeling the shoulders working. Good. Peel the chest up with those arms reaching back. They'll come down, back up, and then bend that front knee. Keep drawing that core in and breathing deep. Notice how this side feels in your warrior one. Good. Hinge forward after you straighten the leg. Almost forgot to mention it. Then arm down and back behind you. Draw those shoulders together. Reach the arms back. Draw the core in. Gaze gently down. Peel the chest up with those arms. Bend the knee and the arm comes back up to frame. Good, so we'll do that one more time. When you're ready, straighten the leg. Hinge forward, pause for just a deep breath. And the arms will come down, back behind you, reaching up just a little bit so those shoulders are working. Draw the core in. One more deep breath, peel the body up, bending the knee, come into warrior one. Pause and breathe deep. Again, keep pushing into that outer edge of that back foot. Breathe. Good, so just like we did before, interlace the hands. Those interlaced hands come onto the back of the head, draw the shoulders back a little bit, draw the core in. Breathe. Good, elbows coming together. It's gonna feel like a band on the head. Tuck the chin just a little bit and draw the shoulders away from the ear. Breathe. Good. Arms come back out, it lifts the head up a little bit naturally. Then the arms release to the hips. This is where you're gonna use your core. Lift that back heel up. Good. And hinge forward. Walk that foot over just a little bit so then you can draw that foot forward. Then the legs meet one another. You can wiggle it out. Good. We're just going to do one last little half sun. So bend your knees, sink the hips down and back. Chest feeling up. Arms to frame. Core in. And push up to stand. Arms around and into prayer. Good. Take a moment. You can do that same undulation with the arms or just any little movement you might need just to kind of relieve. Notice what you're feeling. All right. A lot of work today, but we did a whole body stretch, so such good stuff. With Corona, a lot of us have been sitting on the couch a little much, so a lot of this was really good and helped target a lot of that sitting around and just kind of needing the body to move again. Okay. Get those last little movements out, and then come back into your forward fold. From your forward fold, be easy with your body and come back into your downward dog, which is just that upside down V. If you want to stay here for a quick little pedal, sometimes that's okay. It feels good to the body. But then come into a child's pose when you're ready. Coming back into that ball, allowing the body to just retract into itself, noticing how you feel. Good. Come up to hands and knees at your own pace when you're ready. From those hands and knees, let's come on down to a laying position. If you would like to use your core before coming down, you've seen probably in many of my videos, you just lengthen the legs, arms out in front, feel like I never have enough room behind me. And then slowly lower down. And you'll feel a little shaky shake, and that's okay. It's just you working that core. Let the head relax. Maybe a little rock with the head just to release, because we did work a little bit of the neck. Since we worked shoulders, we had to release a little bit of that neck too. Good. Let's do some windshield wipes. Arms out at T, feet wide so the knees are bent. Draw the core in, maybe a slight tilt through the pelvic. Tuck the chin. On your exhale, the knees are going to lower to the right, and you're just going to gaze over towards that left arm or that left hand. Sometimes if it's too much for the neck, you can just let the eyes gaze in that direction. It's good to work those eyes as well. Inhale, come back to center, knees and head or eyes. And then opposite direction at your own pace. Breathe deep. And just move gently through the movement. Notice how it feels, because we did a lot of closed hip today in practice. So to have our hips opening, does it feel different? Does it feel good to have that opposite happen after working through those hips? Or is there tightness that's happening as well? Just be aware. Next time those knees lower to the right side, come into a place of stillness for you. And breathe deep, finding your effort and your ease through this pose. One more deep breath, and you'll come back to center, head and knees. Make sure feet are still wide, core still slightly engaged. Then lower to the left when you're ready, gazing to the right. And come into that place of stillness. Find that effort and ease, the balance between them. One more deep breath. And then you'll come back to center, head and knees. And you'll walk the feet in closer. The knees come back in towards the chest, just like we started practice. Wrap the arms around, give yourself a little hug. If you want to lift the head up, that's okay. But then release it. And give yourself a quick little rock side to side. It might feel different than windshield wipes, so just be aware of what you're feeling through the back, through the hips, and maybe even through those legs. Good. All right. Draw your hands behind the thighs and lengthen the legs up towards the ceiling. As the legs lengthen, reach those heels down so you're stretching those arms. So it's going to be very similar to when we did with the knees, just a little different. Hold on to those legs and then bend the knees in, wrap the arms back around either those thighs or the tops of the legs. Good. Do that just a few times. Lengthen the legs, letting them come forward so those arms straighten. And then drawing the knees in, giving yourself a little hug. Maybe 2 more times. whenever you're done, and those knees come back in towards the chest, take a few deep breaths. And then lengthen the legs onto the mat and reach your arms up and overhead. This is a spot to do a full body stretch. So reach those hands, point those toes, feel the body being pulled and stretched from one end to the other. Arms down, toes gently up. Tuck the chin a little bit. Good, do it again. Reach the arms back, point the toes, feel the body stretching from one end to the other. And then exhale, arms down, toes gently back up. Last time, so give yourself that stretch you need. Reach and pull out just like you have before by drawing those arms down and those toes up. And now this is the time where you get to be a little creative and you get to explore. So any movement you would like to do, please feel free to do it. It can be anything we've done today, in a previous class, or just something that you truly want to do. That maybe you were like, I'm missing out, and that just feels really good. So don't feel like you have to follow anything I do. Just breathe and listen to what feels good to you. Maybe you're just ready for Shavasana, and that's okay. Go into Shavasana. If you want to use a blanket to cover up for the head or for the knees, please feel free. And once you're set up and in your Shavasana, I want you to get as comfortable as you can be. So just letting those arms relax by your side, letting those legs relax. Close those eyes when you're ready. Good job. And just enjoy the Shavasana. I will call you out when it's time. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Start to wiggle fingers and toes, ankles and wrists, shoulders, elbows, and the head. Bend the knee, and then roll over onto your favorite side. Use your bottom arm like a pillow just to help cradle the head. And breathe here on your side. One more deep breath, and then push yourself up to a seated posture. Lengthen through the spine a little bit here. Relax the face and the shoulders. And let your hands come to prayer. Thumbs to the chest, to the heart. And just a gentle bow to those hands. Take a deep breath in. And a deep sigh out through the mouth. Come back to your intention. And then send yourself a little gratitude for your practice, for this time that you carved out just for yourself. The effort and the ease that you put into practice. And as always, I'm honored and grateful that you allowed me to guide you with that trust and honesty. But like I said just a second ago, it was you that listened and found that balance between effort and ease. The light in me sees that same beautiful divine light in you. We are one. Namaste.